My name echoed broken, butchered, and spit out like it didn't belong to a person. Ayana Taylor? Silence, then a cough. A stifled laugh. Another whisper. He looked up from the podium, eyes flicking across the crowd like nothing happened. I blinked once. That's not how you say my name. That's not how you said it during rehearsal. You knew? I stood up anyway. My robe felt too heavy all of a sudden, like it was trying to pull me back down into the plastic seat. But my legs moved. Ms. Carter leaned across the row, just enough for me to hear her breath. Just sit back down. For now, Ayana, is there a problem? My voice came out even, but something trembled underneath it. Principal Reeves shifted behind the podium. We'll clear this up after the ceremony. I stared at him. What's there? To clear up? Another whisper floated from behind me, sharp and smug. This is what happens when you let charity cases in. My head turned before I could stop it. I scanned the faces in the row behind me. Say that louder. The woman blinked like she didn't expect to be challenged. Her husband looked straight ahead, pretending not to exist. Say it, I repeated. Please, say it to my face. A few rows turned. Some laughed. Some looked away like this was uncomfortable dinner talk. Not my life. Principal Reeves adjusted the microphone. Let's move on. No, I said, voice harder this time. You paused on purpose. More whispers. One camera phone lifted. I heard it, not saw it, the soft click of someone hitting record. I practiced my name with you, Mr. Reeves. Twice. He looked at the back of the program again. There was confusion in the final listing. My name is Ayana Simone Taylor. It hasn't changed in 17 years. His lips tightened. I earned my spot on this stage, I said. You're disrupting the ceremony, he snapped. Low but tight, and you're disrespecting me. Miss Carter stood now, moving toward me slowly. Ayana, sweetheart. This isn't the time. Then when is? She flinched. Not because I yelled I didn't, but because I asked a question she couldn't answer. If I sit now, I said, voice low, I teach them I'm easy to erase. The air shifted. I felt it in the stillness, in the fact that no one clapped. Not for the next name, not for the one before. Principal Reeves leaned in, jaw clenched. You're making this about you. It is about me, I said, and you made sure of that. He hesitated. I saw it, that flicker of calculation behind his eyes. I suggest you return to your seat before we ask security to. My laugh was dry. You're going to arrest me for standing? I looked out at the crowd. Dozens of families, so many phones, but not enough voices. I dare you. His face darkened, but he stepped back. Miss Carter's hand grazed my shoulder. Please, just let this moment pass. I've let too many pass already. The snickering stopped. The whispers turned to silence. I stood there, staring up at the man who said my name wrong on purpose, and behind me, 100 eyes looked anywhere but at me, but I didn't blink, I didn't sit, let them feel the pause. Escort her out, Reeves barked. Now, my whole body tensed. I didn't move, I didn't flinch. Two security guards in navy suits stepped forward like they'd been waiting all day for this part. I earned this seat, I said, turning to face him full on. If you want me gone, you'll have to drag me out in front of everybody. One guard paused. The other kept walking. You're embarrassing yourself, Reeves snapped. No, I said. You embarrassed this school the moment you singled me out. I walked the same halls, took the same tests, made the same damn honor roll, but now I'm a problem? Miss Carter put herself between me and the guards. Please, Ayana, just sit. Please, let's de-escalate. Why am I the one who always has to de-escalate? My voice cracked. I didn't care. Why is it always on us to shrink? Whispers, too many of them. I looked around. My classmates, some looked at the floor. Others stared straight ahead like statues. One boy mouthed, I'm sorry, and dropped his eyes. I sat next to most of you for 4 years, I said louder now. We shared notes, we laughed, and now you can't even look at me? Someone in the back clapped. Once it stopped just as fast. Reeves stepped closer. Miss Taylor, if you want to make this a spectacle, I don't. My throat tightened, but you already did. A girl near the edge of the row whispered, just let her walk. Mr. Danvers's voice cut through the auditorium like a whip. Let the white kids finish first. We'll sort her later. My head snapped to him, and that was it. That was the bullet in the air that made every breath. Catch. Reeves froze. Ms. Carter looked like she'd been slapped. Even the whisperers went quiet. You could hear a gum. Wrapper fold 3 rows back. Danvers didn't flinch. Like he hadn't just said it with his whole chest. Like it was normal. Like it made sense. Did you just say that out loud? I asked, my voice shaking. His eyes met mine, calm, unapologetic. Finish the ceremony, he said to Reeves. Then deal with her. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was something heavier, sicker. I sat down. Not because I gave in, because I wanted them to feel the weight of me sitting there alive, unbroken, and absolutely watching. I crossed my hands in my lap and kept my eyes forward. A girl named Madison walked next. She looked straight ahead. Didn't glance my way. Then Jared, then Claire. One by one they walked. Got their diplomas. Got their applause, but the claps were smaller now. Like the audience wasn't sure what was safe to celebrate. Miss Carter leaned in. Ayana, I didn't know. You did. She swallowed hard. I never thought he'd say it like that. But you always knew he thought it. She didn't answer. I sat perfectly still as the list moved forward. They could finish their little show. I'd already won the part that mattered. I found him backstage, just past the velvet curtain, pretending to shuffle papers. Why did you pause before my name? Reeves barely looked up. Excuse me? You heard me? It was procedure, he said, turning a page that didn't need turning. There was an issue with your file. I stepped closer. What issue? Your records weren't finalized. No emergency contact. No father listed. There it was. Just like that. My stomach twisted. So no dad means no diploma? It wasn't personal. No? My voice cut. You said every name but mine. Without missing a breath, he folded his arms. I made the call based on the information available. That's my job. No, your job is to make sure every student walks with dignity. He frowned. Let's not dramatize this. I laughed under my breath. Dramatize? You paused my name like it tasted wrong in your mouth. Footsteps clicked past us. Janice, of course. She looked over her shoulder and muttered, No surprise. My chest lit with heat. Say it to my face, Janice. She turned, faux innocence smeared across her lips. What? I just meant you always play the victim. Miss Carter rushed over. Girls, please, this is not the place. I kept my eyes on Janice. No, I don't play the victim. I live in a system that expects me to shut up when it victimizes. Me, Janice crossed her arms. You're always angry. Always looking for something to call racist. No, I said. I call it when it slaps me in the face in front of hundreds of people. She blinked, unsure of what to do when someone didn't shrink. Reeves stepped between us. Enough, all of you. Ayana, this attitude is the only thing that kept me from disappearing in this school. Double quotes. Miss Carter touched my arm lightly. This isn't how to win? I looked at her. Looked hard. Winning isn't the goal. Seeing is. Her face dropped. Like I just cracked a mirror she'd been polishing her whole career. I just wanted to be seen, I whispered. Not pitied, not tolerated, seen. Reeves adjusted his tie. I'm sorry this became uncomfortable. Comfortable? I took a step back. You looked at an empty line on a form and decided that meant I didn't deserve to walk? He didn't respond because I don't have a father listed? I asked. That's what made me less valid. His jaw tightened. Janice scoffed behind him. There's always an excuse. I turned to her, eyes steady. You've had everything handed to you and still have the nerve to feel threatened by someone who had to claw just to stand where you're standing. She looked away. Miss Carter exhaled. This could have been handled differently. No, I said. It needed to be seen exactly like this. The curtain behind us fluttered slightly as more students passed by, eyes darting between us like they weren't sure what side they were on. I let them wonder. I wasn't standing here for sides. I was standing so none of them could say they didn't notice. The lobby was cold. Colder than I remembered. I stepped up to the counter, holding the paper they'd emailed confirmation to pick up my diploma. The secretary barely looked up. Name? Ayana Moore. she typed, then paused. Her face shifted. It's under review, I blinked. Under review? She glanced behind me like I was causing a scene. You'll need to speak to Principal Reeves. I didn't move. No one said anything was under review last night. Please take a seat. I turned instead. Mom pushed the door open just then, heels like thunder across tile. I'm not here to sit. Reeves appeared like he'd been waiting, Mrs. More, miss, she corrected. Let's not start with assumptions. He cleared his throat. There seems to be an issue with the documentation. Really? Her voice was honey dipped in iron. You withheld a diploma over a typo? It's not that simple. It's a matter of academic verification. You mean you're questioning her GPA now? Her arms folded. After letting her walk? After printing the program? He looked at me, then down. There were some concerns, I spoke up. No, you just didn't expect someone like me to graduate top of the class, he flinched. Ayana, you didn't read my name right. You tried? To block me from walking, now this? Mr. Danvers, board chair, stepped in from the hallway like some final boss. Let's lower the volume. There's no need for dramatics. Dramatics, Mom repeated. Interesting choice of words. He raised a brow. Do you have any proof of discrimination? Proof? I laughed once, sharp and bitter. You humiliated me in front of 400 people. Snickers, a parent calling me a charity case. Reeves pausing like my name wasn't worth air. Danvers shrugged. Still hearsay. I didn't even have to say anything. Mom stepped closer, slow and steady. Every phone was recording. The whole auditorium saw it. Reeves stiffened, and Danvers's voice dropped. Who will listen to you? Silence pulsed between us. Then Mom smiled, calm, calculated. Let's find out. Behind us, I saw it, a student. Recording again. Another, whispering to someone. One by one, they were listening. Finally, Mom leaned in. If you think her silence is proof of weakness, you've forgotten what resilience looks like. I looked at her. Her back straight, her stare leveled. Her voice didn't waver. Danvers didn't respond. I spoke. Low but sure, I didn't fight. This hard for your approval. I fought so no one else behind me has to. Mom reached for my hand. I want my diploma, I said. Reeves opened his mouth, but Danvers held up a hand. His voice, for once, cracked. Give it to her. He walked off, face pale. Reeves looked like he'd swallowed gravel. Congratulations, I took it from him without a thank you. My fingers trembled, but not from fear. We stepped outside into the sunlight, my mother's grip warm and sure. The storm hadn't passed, but the silence was broken. I stood just outside the boardroom, staring at the double doors like they might bite. Ready? Mom asked beside me, her voice even. I nodded, but my stomach twisted. They don't care what I say. She looked past me. That's why she's here? The doors swung open, heads turned, phones lowered. Whispering started, gasps came next. That's the governor? Governor Naomi Price stepped in like she owned the floor. Which, technically, she did. Good afternoon, she said, calm but fierce. I'm not here for pleasantries. Reeves nearly choked on his breath. Governor Priceau didn't know you were attending. Clearly, she said, taking a seat at the end of the board's long table. I reviewed the footage. I saw a girl stand to receive what she earned. I saw hesitation. I saw fear, but not from her, from you. Danvers coughed. Governor, with all due respect, the situation was procedural. I stepped forward. My voice didn't shake this time. Double quotes, no. You weren't following protocol. You were following instinct. The kind that assumes people like me are a threat. The second we speak, Reeves looked like he wanted to disappear. We were just trying to keep the ceremony in order. Order. Mom scoffed. Order was the lie you used to silence my daughter. Governor Price nodded once. Is this how you treat every top scholar who doesn't have a donor's last name? No one answered. Danvers shifted in his seat. Perhaps we can move forward. Celebrate her accomplishments properly. Say what you mean, Mom interrupted. Sharply. You thought we'd leave quietly. You thought you could embarrass her and bury the rest. Danvers looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. Instead, he looked at me. You've made your point, Ayana, publicly. I stared back. You made it public the moment you called security. The moment you paused on my name like it didn't belong to someone worthy. Governor Price turned to him. You didn't pause, you chose, and choices have consequences. The silence that followed felt heavy. Not awkward exposed, a board member finally spoke, a younger woman with a tight jaw. I think we owe her a formal apology, and a public one. Danvers flinched. That's exactly how we fix this, Governor Price cut in. Because if we don't, the press will. Reeves looked at me. Ayana, you were one of our brightest. This could have been handled differently. I didn't smile. It should have. Governor Price stood. The damage is done, but so is the silence. And that ends now. She looked at me. You didn't just earn your place. You reminded all of us why we have to fight to keep it. I felt the knot in my chest loosen just a little dot as we turned to leave. I caught Reeves slumping in his chair. Danvers rubbing his temple. Whispers rippling again, this time in my direction, but they didn't feel like daggers anymore. They felt like turning tides. The auditorium lights felt harsher this time. I stood near the edge of the stage, not center, not spotlighted. But I was seen. They'd called an emergency school forum. Cameras were off. Phones weren't. Everyone knew it. Danvers stepped up too. The mic like he was about to read a weather report. This media attention, it's damaging our image. My jaw clenched. I didn't even hesitate. No, I said, stepping forward. Your actions damaged it. I just refused to stay invisible. Few gasps. A few quiet "ms" from the back. He blinked. This was a misunderstanding. Mishandled, yes, but stop calling it that. I cut in. You knew my name. You looked right at it. You chose not to say it. Reeves stood behind him, arms folded too tightly. We've issued a statement expressing our regret. Regret? My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. You didn't regret anything until someone filmed it. Governor Price, seated on the side, finally spoke. If your policies silence students for being black and brilliant, maybe your image needs breaking. Silence. Then a student near the back nodded. Then another. Danvers looked uneasy. We're trying to restore order. You mean control, I said. That's what this has always been about. Reeves stepped up. We never meant to make you feel excluded. I turned to face him. You didn't make me feel anything. You acted. And I saw what you meant. He started to respond. I didn't let him. You paused when you saw my name. You told me to sit down. You let a parent whisper I didn't belong. And then you tried to erase me from my own graduation. Someone behind me said, speak. Another voice. Say it louder, Ayana. I swallowed. My voice lowered. This place was never built for girls like me to be celebrated, just tolerated, quietly. Danvers stepped forward, clearing his throat. Let's not turn this into a witch hunt. We've all made mistakes. Price shook her head. No, you made choices. And now you're afraid of the mirror she's holding up. I looked around. Miss Carter stood near the back, hands clasped. Her eyes locked on mine. I'd never seen her cry before. Danvers looked. Desperate now. We have donors, reputation, press watching. I said nothing for a moment. Then I stepped up to the mic. I sat in this school for 4 years. Heard the jokes. Watched teachers look past raised hands. Got told to smile more, to quiet down, to be grateful. I paused, the lump in my throat threatening to spill. I earned everything. And when I asked for nothing more than my name said, right, I became a problem. Silence, not awkward, not dismissive, just heavy, listening, if that makes me the villain. In your story, I said, then maybe the story needs rewriting. Someone clapped. Then 2. Then more. Danvers looked around. Sweating, I stepped back. Governor Price rose slowly. Well, she said, voice calm but sharp, looks like the students are doing the leading now? And for once no one argued. I didn't hear her footsteps at first, just the hiss of her voice behind me. You really think colleges will like your attitude? I froze by the lockers, fingers still on the strap of my bag. I turned. Janice. Her arms were folded like she was daring me to speak. You're burning bridges, she said. I tilted my head. If a bridge only leads to silence, I said slowly, let it burn. She blinked, caught off guard for half a second, then rolled her eyes. You could have just taken your diploma and gone? But no, you had to make it a spectacle. I stepped toward her, just one pace. You mean speak? You made this about race? I stared at her. No, I said. You made it about race. When you laughed. When you whispered. When you walked by and said, no surprise, like I hadn't earned it. She flushed, but didn't look away. I made it about truth. Janice scoffed. You really think this protest is going to change anything? It already has. I sighed. You're standing here, pressed. I thought she might say something else, some final jab, but instead, she just shook her head. You're gonna regret this, she muttered. You'll never get in anywhere now, I smiled, not wide. Not fake, just tired? You're afraid because I didn't flinch, I said. That's what scares you. She opened her mouth again, but a voice cut through the hallway. Don't waste brilliance explaining itself to ignorance. Valerie, my mom, her heels echoed like thunder as she walked toward us. Calm, composed, her stare cutting right through Janice. Janice swallowed. Go home, Mom said. Or better yet, go learn something. Janice turned without another word. The hall stretched quiet after her. Like even the walls were holding their breath, I let mine go. I didn't ask for this. I whispered, I know, baby, she said gently. But you stood in it. She reached out and touched my shoulder. Her grip was firm, grounding, and that matters. I closed my eyes for a second, let the weight settle where it wanted to. I'd stopped trying to carry it all alone. The hallway didn't feel quite as cold now. The gym had never looked so polished. Streamers, folding chairs, the stage redraped in navy. Everything gleamed like they were trying to scrub the stain from memory. I stood in the wings. My cap rested snug on my curls, this time on my terms. Governor Price sat front row beside my mother. Their presence didn't just shift the room, it owned it. Valerie wore red, power red, pride red. Are you ready? Miss Carter whispered beside me. I didn't answer right away. I kept my eyes on the stage. Reeves adjusted the microphone. Cleared. His throat, again, a name. Another. More applause. The pause. He looked down at the card in his hand. I knew exactly where he was. One line before mine. His jaw twitched. I could hear it, the murmur from the crowd. Shuffling, waiting. Governor Price leaned in, slow, deliberate. Say it, Reeves blinked. Say her name. Silence collapsed into pressure, and finally, Ayana Simone Taylor. My chest swelled like I'd been holding air for a week. Applause didn't just erupt, it thundered. My name echoed louder than the microphone. People stood. Phones flashed. I stepped out. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I just walked. Each step was mine. Not for validation, not for forgiveness. Just visibility. I walked across that stage for every time I was made to feel invisible. For the snickers, the hesitations, the misunderstandings. Price rose. Met me at the edge of the stage. Hugged me tight. You shook the room, baby girl, she whispered. Now own the silence. My mother's tears sparkled without shame. She didn't need to say anything. Her eyes did it all. Reeves stood off to the side, clapping. The smile on his face looked like it had been stapled there. I didn't look back, not once. They saw me now, but I never needed them to. I just needed me.